When I watched the Star Wars films growing up, the parts I enjoyed the most from those movies were always the epic battles. Oh, and I don't mean the duels between the Jedi and Sith. I mean the massive explosive encounters between two armies. Forget about Luke and Vader, give me the Battle of Hoth. And Yoda versus Dooku, how about clones versus robots? It's for this reason that I gained so much enjoyment from this game, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Released in 2005 for the PC, Xbox, PS2, and PSP, this title was the highly anticipated sequel to the first Battlefront, which at the time was the best-selling Star Wars title to date. The game garnered favorable reviews all around, was one of the most played Xbox Live titles for 3 years in a row, and sold over 500,000 copies for the PSP alone. So I guess you could say that this game had its share of fans. So, just what was the big deal about this game, and why do many people, me included, still cling to the hope of one day seeing a continuation of this series? Well, let's jump right into the fray and find out. This game has 3 separate modes. The main campaign is titled Rise of the Empire. This mode has you following the storyline of the clone troopers of the 501st Legion. The story is told through one of the veteran troopers, and like Republic Commando, you will be partaking in missions starting after Star Wars Episode 2. However, this time around, not only do you proceed past Episode 3, but you also get to see what becomes of this unit after the rise of the Empire, all the way up to the Battle of Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back. While this mode could have just been one mission to the next with not much of a narrative, I gotta say that I was very impressed at how well the story was put together. While listening to the narration, you really get a feel for the personality of the individual troopers, again something I never thought clones would have, and also gain an understanding of the conflict they may have felt while being ordered to turn on their former Jedi allies. But even aside from a compelling narrative, the missions all have specific objectives that must be followed, so you don't just mow down all enemies in your path every time. The second game mode is titled Galactic Conquest. In this mode, you can choose to play as either the Rebel Alliance, the Empire, the Army of the Republic, or the CIS. You know, the droids. The objective of this mode is to control all of the planets in the galaxy in a style very reminiscent of Risk or Empire at War. You will begin with one fleet and move it from planet to planet in an attempt to gain entire control, with your adversaries doing the same. The more planets that you control, the more points you will earn per turn, which can be used to purchase more units, more fleets, and perks to use in battles. These perks range from sabotaging the enemy vehicles, to giving your troopers a damage boost, all the way up to being almost completely unfair with having a Jedi or Sith on your team. The final game mode is called Instant Action, which can be played against the computer, locally against another player, or online. Well, only online for the PC now, as it's no longer available on Xbox Live. This game mode will have you jumping straight into combat on any planet while using the army of your choice. There are 4 modes in which to play. There is the Conquest mode, which has you controlling the majority of command posts, Capture the Flag, which is, well, let's face it, you already know what Capture the Flag is. Hunt mode, which has one team playing as an indigenous species of a planet, and another attempting to make them go extinct. Hero Assault, in which you play as either a quote-unquote hero or villain, and attempt to score the most kills. And finally, Space Assault, which has you attempting to destroy your opponent's cruiser by either bombarding it or through sabotage. As I'm sure you can tell, the gameplay in this title is either a third or first-person shooter, depending on how you choose to play. In the instant action modes, you will have most ground troops unlocked from the start, with 2 elite types locked until you gain a certain amount of points. If you score enough points, not only will you have the option to play as these troopers, but you will also be able to use your team's respective hero or villain. Well, now that I've gotten all of the descriptive elements out of the way, it looks like it's time to get to the reviewing. Taking a look at these graphics, the environments and character models were actually quite impressive for the time. Well, that is assuming that you don't look too closely. While the settings such as the lush yet treacherous Felucia or the scorchingly intense Mustafar look fairly impressive, once you take a look at the character models, especially the heroes, you'll notice a distinct pattern of copy and paste when it comes to the faces. Now, as for the gameplay, this is one aspect that is put together very well. While fighting on the ground, each unit from each army has a very distinct feel and require different strategies in order to use them efficiently. As for the space battles, the vehicles have a decent amount of control to them, however they really feel a bit sluggish and to some extent awkward to control. To be fair, this isn't exactly game-breaking and it is pretty easy to get used to, but you won't get the same smooth feel as you would in other flight games such as Rogue Squadron. Aside from this, the only other problem I can find is in the AI, both friendly and hostile. Usually the enemy force is large enough to cause a decent challenge for you, however, there are many times in which they will aim erratically, run off cliffs, or kill themselves and their allies with friendly fire. As for your teammates, this can be a bigger issue because not only do they suffer from the same spotty AI, but they also have trouble in both taking and holding command posts. Now, I'm playing this on the Xbox and I'm sure Steam has smoothed out some of the bugs, but this still is something to keep in mind. So, at the end of the day, can I recommend this look into the battles of the Star Wars universe? Of course I can. In fact, not only do I recommend this game, I also recommend the first Battlefront, the Knights of the Old Republic titles, Rogue Squadron 1 and 2, Day of the Tentacle, The Secret of Monkey Island, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, and Star Wars Empire at War. Farewell, LucasArts. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors, hope for great things in the future Star Wars titles, and may the Force be with you, always.